down again. It was Christian Miller.
Here is college football playoff national champion
Christian Miller
on Tide 100.9
and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are ready for a big weekend. Obviously, LSU is coming into town this weekend. Night game here in Bryant-Denny Stadium. So we're all looking forward to that, excited about that, and excited to continue breaking it down and putting a bow on it. Today we'll do just that. It is a Prediction Friday here on the Miller's Edge. So we're going to get y'all's predictions, right? You can do that by sending them in via the chat here on our YouTube stream at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, or you can always send us an app message with those score predictions, or you can call us 205-342-9904 is the number. We'd love to get those. If you get it right, which we haven't had anybody just yet, but if you do get it right, you do get a prize, get you a signed ball and some other cool stuff. So we'll definitely hook you up with that. So make sure you guys drop those score predictions today for the Alabama LSU game. Plus, we'll I think we're waiting to see if we'll hear from Reagan from R&R Cigars. You know, we normally get his smoking hot pick, so to be determined on that. I got to reach out and make sure he's still good to go, which he should be. So we'll anticipate doing that at the top of the hour. That being said, some other things to kind of hit on. I was talking with Chase and Reed before. Nothing really too crazy going on right now other than it's prepping you guys for the Alabama LSU game. But there's one thing, Reed, Chase, that I saw, and it just had me kind of thinking, man, this new day and age, man, it's a little bit different. And basically what it is it's these posts or these announcements of shutting down recruitments. And one reason I'm curious about this is because, like, I always thought, like, the whole word committed means, like, all right, you're committed. Now, I know you can always flip a commitment, you can cancel a commitment, but, like, I feel like it's interesting. We're at the point where, like, people, they commit and then they have to double down and do, because this isn't the first time that I've seen this. I've seen a number of guys do this, but there's like an announcement that they're shutting their official, I guess, recruitment down. Is that interesting, Reed, to you at all by any chance? Or do you think that's kind of, I guess, part of where we're at right now? To me, I don't know. Just from my perspective, I never understood it, because I'm like, it's not like you can sign early. To me, that would be like, okay, I'm legit shutting it down. Maybe that just means we're not taking any more visits or what. I don't know. And maybe I'm nitpicking it. But what are y'all's thoughts on that when these guys that are already committed to a school like double down with these announcements and articles and whatnot?
Well, Christian, I think it's just now like the day and age of college football. I mean, if you look back on it, like you said, the whole committed part, like that was it. Once you were committed, back then, as in, like post, like transfer portal, NIL and all that. And now it's, like you said, the whole recruitment shutdown. And shoot, about, 10 years, 5 years from now, there could be a thing after, shutting down recruitment. It could be like, okay, I'm like fully like, no more. I'm sticking with this team, So yeah. I think it's just a progressive thing and just one of those things that, we're just got to adapt to, because it's just, everything adapts in life.
Part of it. Yeah. And here's the thing. And I saw this. So the most recent one, you've got Alabama tight end commit Max Sutter, who committed to Alabama back in the spring, if I remember. I remember we mentioned it anyway. But he's not the first. I know we've had a number of our commits go ahead and do that, which I guess, from an Alabama perspective, that's a great sign, right? You feel really good about that. Because yes, I think that means no more visits, whatever. They're done. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the way I was raised, and I sound like a hypocrite because I mean, technically, I committed to Florida and ended up decommitting. Granted, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. But I don't know. It's just, to me, I'm like, man, look, man, what is the point of this double down, shutting things down thing, man? Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of becoming that get off my grass guy, because I technically did decommit. I was committed to Florida, so I guess I need to tread lightly here because I don't want to be too hypocritical. But I didn't my thing was when I committed to Florida, I did get eager, right? South Carolina was kind of doing me dirty. It almost was like the girl that, doesn't really give you attention. That was like South Carolina. They're like, they offer me, but they half-assed it. And then Brad Lawing, who was like the one guy at South Carolina that was really showing me love. He went to Florida. When he went to Florida, he immediately, talked to Muschamp and they offered me. And so when I went on my visit, man, I just was like, dang, man, like these guys, they actually want me to come here and I can see myself playing all this. I got eager and I probably jumped the gun. And then you guys already know the rest. I've told it before, but Coach Saban still wanted to recruit me, all that good stuff. Ended up committing to Alabama summer going into my senior year. But what I'm getting at is once I committed to Alabama after it was like a detailed process, like I didn't rush it like the Florida one. I really sat there and weighed my options and took my time. Once I committed to Alabama, like I didn't take any other official visits. I didn't have to say like, oh, I'm shutting I mean, technically, I guess I still had Georgia in my ear, but I don't know. Does that mean like, this is my question, guys? Does that mean like they block the calls from the other coaches? Because I mean, you could say you're shutting it down, but I mean, these coaches still probably will reach out. If that's the case, then that is, I guess, pretty solid. I mean, if you're legit tuning out all that noise, not just the visits, but like even like the folks reaching out to you because they still will. I guess I do respect that. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I saw this and it just kind of made me think.
Yeah, and Christian, I was going to add on to that, and it's kind of crazy because even though they could say, I'm shutting down my like recruitment and everything, it's not like the transfer portal where it's like there's like a no contact clause. In that situation,
Exactly.
they physically can't contact them. But even in the shutdown, if I'm correct, they can still reach out. It's just saying, I think it's more of a like issue of like, hey, I don't intend on going anywhere, which is kind of crazy to think because kind of goes back to the point of you making of like, isn't that what committed already stands for?
Yeah. But that's a good point you made. Kind of about like I guess like the no contact tag. I guess maybe they're taking it a step further when they're talking about shutting it down. Like it's probably consistent of no more visits and no more even entertaining. Because now that I think about it, I guess now I'm putting myself back in that spot. I didn't take any visits. Once I committed to Alabama, I was locked in on Alabama. I had no interest in going to visit other places. Like that was my decision. I still did, however, have Georgia continuously recruited me, right? I'm not going to lie about that. And I still did have some communication with those coaches. And it wasn't like on my end. It's because they were still reaching out to me. I did take an unofficial visit, but I don't think I was committed to Alabama at the time. And if I was, I'll feel even more like a hypocrite maybe. But I don't think I was. But I do know I still did. I had interactions with them, even though I wasn't like reaching out. They kept reaching out to me. And I just will say, even that alone, having somebody kind of in your ear, like, well, just don't forget, I mean, we would love to have you here and do this, that, and the third. And even though you think you're decided, like when you have someone continuously pursuing that, especially as a young guy, and I can only imagine with like NIL and stuff. I mean, that's not easy. So I don't know. Maybe now that we're kind of processing this and we're talking about it, maybe shutting it down does kind of, I guess, mean something a little bit different now, given that the landscape is a little bit different than when I was coming out. Because the other thing on this read is I do know that Yay Alabama has like partnered in like writing articles and stuff like that. And I know from my understanding, Yay Alabama does have like, services like that where they just write articles. But I'll see them like collaborate on posts and do things with these guys, which made me wonder is like, is there an incentive to shut down your recruitment? Like these are questions that I kind of have the more we talk about it, because I've seen them like share posts together on Instagram, like Yay Alabama and said recruit or on X. And it to me, I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if somehow one way or another, like there's some incentive to shutting it down. Cause like somebody mentioned in the comments, nowadays guys get paid to go on visits, which is crazy to me. Like you could legit get paid thousands of dollars to go on a trip to just go visit a school. Like for us, you had 5 official visits. That was the rule. And those were like paid trips to go on a visit. Unofficials, you had to cover everything. So like if you wanted to take an unofficial visit, you had to pay for that, the gas, the plane, whatever. But now, man, it's different, man.
I was just about to say, Christian, man, you should have like if you were playing in this current day and age, man, I'd go see every school there is.
That I'll say this, bro. Looking back on it, part of me is kind of like, man, I wish I did just kind of take those visits just to take them. Even though I know I probably wouldn't have gone there, but it just would have been a free trip somewhere. Like, for example, like UCLA was recruiting me, and they were wanting me to take a visit out there. But in my head, I was like, I know there's literally like a 3% chance that I would actually go to school there. I'm not going to waste mine or their time. You know what I mean, by doing that. But then I'm like, I've heard of my teammates that were like at Alabama that literally would come back and be like, or we would not come back, but we would be on campus and they'd be like, man, that trip I took to A&M, or that trip I took to whatever, man, it was lit. But we did this, that, and the third. Now I'm like, damn, maybe I should have done that. but nah, it's definitely it's different for everybody. I guess that's the best way to put it. Everybody's got their own process with it. I don't know. And again, I'm probably being the get off my grass guy, but I keep seeing this now, and I'm like, first it was, all right, I'm 1,000% committed, and then I'm like, why are y'all saying that when you first committed, and like 3 months later having to like double down? Like, I'm like, is there another layer to this that I'm just not aware of right now? I don't know. Anyway, that being said, let's hit our first timeout and get back on schedule. When we come back, we'll keep talking. It's a free-for-all Friday, but we're definitely going to take a look at this Alabama LSU game, give our final thoughts, our predictions, all that good stuff throughout the show. Plus, we'll probably hear from another number of other folks, probably pot up some videos, and anticipate hearing from Reagan of R&R Cigars for his smoking hot picks right here on this Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. If Christian played today, Pastor Miller would have gotten a new Suburban. Hell no. Hell no. I know. I see where you're going with Smitty. He would have definitely probably been hoping to get one. I wouldn't let that happen. No, sir. I would have been driving that Suburban. He ain't getting the Suburban. I'm the one that's about to have to go do all the work. He ain't getting no keys, no Suburban. No, sir. That would be me. 45-17. All right. I guess we need to make sure that we get these score predictions down. Absolutely, Julian. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for saying that. Oh, Reed, thank you, bro. Thank you. Jake, Mike, what's up, man? Kenji, what's up? Herb and Rod podcast. What's up, guys? Gonna wake up in a nap. Man, that's the only thing that was tough about those night games, bro. Sitting around waiting all day. I was not a fan of that. Just, I mean, like, afternoon games, like the perfect time. You know what I mean? Like, early games, I wasn't a fan of. Afternoon slot was perfect. But night games, like, while the atmosphere is great, sitting around that hotel room, bro, I'd be just doing push-ups. Like, I'd be like so it's gonna sound weird. Laid in the bed. Cause like pregame wouldn't be pregame would be for a while. Like we'd get up, we'd have that morning walk. Obviously, I'd go down and eat, but then we'd have like a big window. So there's like really nothing to really do. You know what I mean? So I'd just be laid in the bed watching college football, doing push-ups, going over like some notes and stuff. But just like too much downtime, bro. Way too much downtime. 24-17 for Smitty. Big game tomorrow, but not a rivalry game. I gotta disagree with that, Sam. I gotta disagree with that. Maybe from the fan side of things. I mean, I can't speak as much from that because it's not like I really grew up. You know what I mean? An Alabama fan my whole life, so like maybe from that perspective, it's a little bit different. But like, ever since I've been, part of Alabama since I guess I committed in 2013. So I'll say the last 12 years, both from that aspect, because I mean, I remember even before that, I'm not, when coach was there, then even the games that they had before that, but still, like I remember the big game with like TJ Yeldon scoring that off that screen. What was that in 12? Maybe that was 2012 or 13. Like all those games are always, man, special games. So for me, and then I mean, but the biggest thing for me, Sam, is like anytime we played LSU, this week felt just as big of a rivalry game as the likes of Auburn and Tennessee as a player. So that's why I view it like that.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. I guess we went on a little bit of a tangent with some of the new age recruiting stuff. No disrespect stuff, by the way. It's literally just different to me. But again, you're talking to somebody who I never was a fan of like the big recruiting announcement stuff. So again, anytime you hear me talk about some of that stuff, guys, just remember, man, I'm about as dry as it gets when it comes to it. Spotlight, attention, all that, man. Like I used to not be able to stand a lot of those extra recruiting stuff. Like it used to get on my, like I wanted nothing to do with recruiting, man. Like I was probably the worst recruit to try to interview because I literally used to be so dry with those reporters. And one, because I was trying to be a tool, man. I was just like, I don't really want to talk about this. I just want to just find out where I'm going to school and just play football. But anyway, now we're done with that tangent. We will turn our attention to Alabama LSU again. We all know this game. We've talked a lot about it, but just to recap, if you've been under a rock or you haven't been listening, LSU, Alabama, both teams coming off of a bye week. Very typical for this matchup. Nothing new there. But what is new is that LSU will be playing this game with a new head coach, and that is because they did indeed fire Brian Kelly. We talked a little bit about the interim head coach, some of the new traditions that he's bringing in, the beating of the drum. Sounds like he's trying to breathe new life into this program. Sounds like they're going to try to show up ready to roll and all that good stuff. But in terms of X's and O's and breaking it down, there's just a number of things that LSU is going to have to overcome if they want to see themselves successful in this game. And I just don't know if they have what it takes, right? Reed, let's just be honest here, right? When you look at this matchup, you look at these two teams. While both teams are filled with talent, a number of players that are going to play on Sundays. We know how this matchup is. I mean, it's scouts galore. Everybody knows these two teams are arguably always going to be the most talented when it comes to football personnel. This year, these two teams have taken much different paths, and it kind of feels like this happens a lot. And Alabama takes one road and capitalized on a lot of stuff, and the other team not so much. And it's been a story like that this year. A team that was anticipated to do a lot of good stuff hadn't been able to put it together. Now, granted, you've had injuries, a quarterback has been banged up, offensive line that has been not only banged up, but really bad as well. They haven't been able to put it together. But looking at them now, this is a team that's 2-3 in the SEC. Can't get caught up too much on that three, just because if you look at it, it's not like they're getting blown out. I mean, the worst one was Texas A&M, who happens to be a top three team in the country. And other games have been close, right? Because, again, they're a good football team, but just hadn't really been able to put it together. Can they do that this game? I don't know, Reed, but I'll tell you what. If LSU wants – let's start here. If LSU wants to have success, there's going to be a couple of things that they've got to figure out. Number one is, can they figure out their offensive line situation, right? They gave up 7 sacks last time they played against A&M. Their quarterback, Nussmeier, who's already banged up. We'll see if he's a little bit healthier coming out of the bye week, but he has not had much help from his offensive line. They've struggled to run the football. A big question for me, guys, is with Frank Wilson taking over, a running backs guy, Alex Atkins, the new play caller. He's an offensive line coach. Will we see a new look LSU, at least in terms of their offense? And if we do, how successful can it be? One would probably argue that if Alabama's defense has, some weaknesses, one probably would be explosive runs, right? Not consistently stopping the run. But if you look at it, it's really leaning more towards the former. It's more so on the explosive run side of things. From, if you do a breakdown of every single run, I mean, Alabama's not as bad as they might look on paper with the numbers, given that a lot of those explosive plays leak into those details, right? And those statistics. That said, a lot of people, including myself, wouldn't be shocked if LSU leans into that running game, which would do what? It provides some balance for that offense, which I think could in turn help open some things up in terms of their passing game, which they do a lot of. They also do a lot of quick passing stuff and a lot of extensions like the screen game, all that stuff, similar to what we've done given our lack of running game at times. They've got the playmakers, right? One of them being a former Alabama receiver. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But with the combination of a bad running game and an offensive line that can't block, man, that's just a recipe to have even more struggles throwing the football, even though you think that's what you want to do. That said, if LSU wants to have a chance in this game, they've got to be able to establish that. Become a little bit more balanced, because I'll be honest with you. If they're just one-dimensional like they've been this season, with Alabama's pass rush heating up, a matter of fact, I think I just saw a stat that Yontae Pierre leads the conference in pressure rate. This is an Alabama team that's really trending the right direction in that aspect. Not to mention you're the away team, right? And you're traveling here. It's going to be loud. You're already going to be fighting against the environment, that hostile crowd. I think it could get ugly if they can't find a way to run the football in this game. I really do, given the struggles of their offensive line already. So I fully expect them to try to lean into that. We heard the coach even talk about the 9-on-7 drill. So we'll see, right? I mean, and we've seen, that helped some teams out, right? Tennessee had some plays on the ground. Georgia was able to run the ball. But even then, was it still enough to overcome everything else? No. And that's why I'll be honest with you guys, not to sound like it's like overconfident or really selling these guys short. I just feel there's just too many things for this LSU team to overcome to give them that edge to be able to win a game like this on the road in Tuscaloosa against an Alabama team that I'd argue, while the last game we played was a little bit of a slump, before that, man, it was like this team was just getting better and better and better. And I'd imagine, especially going off of what we've heard from everybody coming out of the building throughout the bye week, that they've had great practices, a lot of good energy, a lot of guys feeling fresh and rejuvenated, man. It's going to be tough, but that's one thing LSU is going to have to do. Another thing is they got to be able to protect the football, because our defense, we're ball hawks. And Garrett Nussmeier, while he's a really good quarterback, does a lot of good stuff. Sometimes when he's put in these tough positions, sometimes he tries to force things. And we've seen it lead to some turnovers. And they don't want to be playing behind the 8-ball like that. So that's obviously going to be important too. Then on the other side of things, man, you got a red-hot Ty Simpson. They've got a really good secondary. We'll see how that matchup looks. We know our receivers, I mean, it's not just one guy. It's not even two. I mean, it's a whole army of guys in that room that you got to worry about. The expectation is Latzia Brooks and Isaiah Horton both back full strength, back healthy in this game. Only going to be even more of a challenge for that. But that's honestly, guys, probably one of the biggest matchups that I'm looking for in this game that I think is going to be exciting to see, right? Because LSU has a number of guys in that secondary that will be playing on Sundays, right? Arguably one of the better units in the country when you look at it. So that's going to be a great matchup to look for. And see how our offensive line plays, right? That's the one area in our offense that I feel like we just need to continue to get cleaned up, right? Now, LSU hasn't been too threatening in terms of getting after the quarterback, right? They're pretty mediocre at that. So that's one thing for offensive line. But I would really love to see our guys find their running game, right? Might not be the most critical factor in this game. It could be really important given that they have a really good secondary and knowing that they're probably, this team's, they don't really have much to lose. They're going to be aggressive in this game. But for the long haul, right, really leaning into that running game and seeing, Ryan Grubb talked about it, right? They've been addressing it in practice. They're trying to lean into it, find, the little details that they can work on to get better at it. Will we see that in this game? That's another big question that I have for our offense, right? Especially given that Jam should be back healthier. Daniel Hill, we've seen the evolution of him and the progression of him getting more and more opportunities, right? So I think there will be some opportunities for that. And I think really that should be a big key for us offensively in this game. Let's do this. Let's take a timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we keep breaking the game down. We keep talking. Alabama, LSU, getting your predictions. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. We'll talk with you guys, get y'all's thoughts, read the comments in the chat, and we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
For over 50 years, Townsend Nissan has been Tuscaloosa's trusted family-owned dealer.
Huge key to me to be pressuring the quarterback. All 4 quarters happens. We get 1 or 2 INTs, put the game away by the end of the third. Yeah, getting pressure on him for sure. Taking advantage of that offensive line will be big. 100%. Take care of the ball, control the clock, third down conversions, establish and maintain the running game, defensive turnovers, eliminate big plays, how to run. I like him. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in games like this, you always got to make sure you're protecting the ball, man. Like it's one of the biggest ways to lose a game that you shouldn't is if you don't have the turnover battle, right? I mean, you guys heard Tony. We talk about that all the time. Winning the turnover battle, and he's not lying. If you're like, I forgot, man, we had the whole statistic, but and they updated it every week, man. It would show every team meeting we had every week, we'd have a chart. Coach Saban put up a chart, and it would say the teams that were, just neutral, the turnover battle in terms of turnovers lost, turnovers gained. It would show those teams, their win rate and had the percentage. Teams that were +1, and so on. +2, -1, -2. And it was crazy, man. If you're +1 or +2 in the turnover battle, I think it would go from 60% chance you win. And then if you're +2, it was 80, high 80% chance you win that game. So turnover battle is always huge. Zach Weeks out and Whit Weeks doubtful. Wait, so both of them are probably not playing? Damn. That's a blow for them. Well, it's even more of a reason we better. I know we stick with our running game, but I really hope we get it back going. I mean, it's not like we haven't had it at all. I mean, they need to just go turn that Vanderbilt tape on and just see how they executed then. Because I mean, we were great in that Vanderbilt game. 42-10. Man, you guys love going big on these predictions, man. And I'm not mad at it. Only reason I stay away from those big wins like that, just because I'll just be honest with you, we just haven't been a team to really just blow people out like that. Not saying we can't, but just the way we play, man, it's just a little bit more about controlling the clock, death by 1,000 cuts, marching down the field, you know what I mean? But to be fair, I mean, we've had opportunities at times. I feel like the other thing too is when we do start kind of getting momentum on teams, sometimes we kind of come out second half and things slow down. I think that probably contributes to it as well. But will I be at the game? I'm trying to decide, man. I gotta do the post game show afterwards. So I mean, I'll be up late, man. So sometimes it's these late games. I don't even want to. Ends up being a long day. Kind of too much going on. Too many people. But if I do, I'll be up in the press box. 28-17. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. I was reading some of y'all's keys in the comments, man. I'm definitely on point with a lot of stuff you guys are talking about. Pass rush for sure will be big, and something I'm looking for in this game. Can we continue to build on that, right? By the numbers, again, that's why you don't trust the numbers. Numbers don't look great. Still, in terms of getting to the quarterback or our sack production, but I'd argue just turning on the tape, right? I did see the stat with Yonze Pierre, his pressure rate. I mean, that lines up, right? He's been very active in the backfield, but to me, I mean, even a guy like, I think Deontay Lawson was credited with 4 hurries or pressures. You know what I mean? That sack number might not be there, but without a doubt, we've been affecting the quarterback much better over the last few games. And these guys have an opportunity to go out there and do that. I talked about A&M. They had 7. I think there's going to be opportunities, especially if LSU gets in a situation, which this wouldn't shock me. If, Bama starts, not even necessarily pulling away, but at least from my point of view, this is what I feel like happens. Like these teams, they see us start rolling on offense, and they'll still be early in the game, and their mindset all of a sudden shifts to like playing from behind. If that happens to LSU, you're going to see them throwing the football a lot. Guys are going to have opportunities to pin their ears back and go. And I really similar to Texas A&M, right? I mean, like if you're playing behind, there's going to be more opportunities. I can see something like that happening, and letting our guys get after it. And it's exciting too, man. Like knowing that we have a number of new guys, right? Getting some opportunities, like Keon Keeley stepping up. You know what I mean? Like I want to see him keep growing. Like I know he's gotten some chances so far and he's made the most of it, but I want to see his role expand, man. Like the more comfortable and confident he gets, I want to see him out there some more because I think he does have something to provide. Um, and I just think the better guys are like him, like pairing those up with the LT Overtons and Yanze Pierre's, man. Again, because you start talking about the more flexibility you have, the more packages you can start coming up with and putting guys. You heard them talk about it, like he's carving out a role. Like that's what that would be. Um, I don't know if I would still have Keon like ready for like the full 3 down type deal just yet, but even just coming in there in these pass rush situations, man, it's exciting. So I think there'll be some opportunities, and we'll see. I mean, sometimes these defensive coordinators, they go to the drawing board over these breaks, man, these bye weeks, and they come up with some stuff. Maybe we'll see some different pressure packages this game. Who knows? But I'll definitely be looking out for that. And I do think that also is a big key, right? I mean, we could always just sum it up as the battle of the line of scrimmage, and definitely the running game for sure. But I think it will be big if we can get pressure on Nussmeier, because it is shown when he's facing pressure, man. Like he's a great quarterback, but he starts to force things, throws the timing off, and you know what happens then, right? It leads to turnovers, air throws, all that good stuff. And I think that definitely will be big in this game. But I mentioned it before in the last segment. Like their secondary, our receiver room, I think it's going to be a really good challenge for us, and I'm really excited to see how that looks, right? And I'm excited to see us respond. Our offense did not play great football last time we stepped on the field against South Carolina. We were on the road after a big stretch. I get all that, but I want to see how our guys respond, right? Do we take the right approach? Does it take us a minute to get going? There's a lot of questions, man, that I have that I'm fired up and I'm excited about. And speaking of being excited, I was on the phone this morning and I was talking with a guy by the name of Rodney Anderson. I'm not sure if you guys remember the name, but you'll definitely, if you go back and watch, you'll remember him. He played running back at Oklahoma, and he played around my time. Matter of fact, I think we both graduated in 2018, same year. So Ronnie was a great running back at Oklahoma. He dealt with some injuries, spent some time with the Bengals, but now he works with Oklahoma, their NIL, their collective, but he also does some media stuff for them. And I was talking with him. We share the same financial advisor, and he got us connected. And I was talking with him this morning. Long story short, we're going to get him on the show next week, next Wednesday. So we'll talk with him and preview that Oklahoma game, which is going to be really exciting as well. So that just came to my head. I just wanted to share that with you guys. So we'll keep bringing some people on here, folks from some of these teams that will be playing, kind of get some insight on that matchup moving forward. Let's see what we got here in the comments. Dejon Lee, pick 6 incoming. I feel like it's probably a good bet, man. That dude's been playing some really good football. Ricky's funny. He said, when's the last time you heard from Digger? I know he's fighting for his life this season. I mean, actually, no, I don't remember the last time. Reed, has Digger called in any other shows, or Chase? Do you guys know? I haven't heard from Digger in probably what feels like probably 5 or 6 weeks. Has he called anybody else?
Goodness, 5 or 6 weeks is way closer than I was thinking. At least
it might be longer.
Yeah, because like the time that I'm thinking of, kind of almost dates closer back to the beginning
Week
of the
1?
season. Yeah, right. I think right when they were playing Ohio State, I think he was calling up a good bit then, hyping up the Longhorns, and then they come away with a loss, and then it's kind of quiet, and then got quieter, and then quieter again. It just haven't heard from him.
Yeah. I hope he's good, man. Always when you don't hear from somebody that you hear from frequently, kind of like you just want to make sure they're good. But maybe it's because Texas struggled a little bit. But to be fair, though, I mean, I feel like they're hitting their stride now, which is the right time to be doing it. But I don't know with their remaining schedule that they have. Georgia and A&M, right, being 2 of the 3 games they have left. I just, yeah, I mean, it's probably just looking like a bowl game for them, which it is what it is, but they had it tough, man. You know what happens sometimes when you lose that first game? It, and I think that's why people should be really pleased with how Alabama has responded. Because I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Now, granted, I've never lost a first game, but I've seen how it can affect teams. And without a doubt, teams kind of have that choice. And I talked about it after we lost to Florida State, right? Like, kind of at a crossroads, even though it's really early on in the year. You have a decision to make. Hell, you can continue on that path and say, "Oh man, look at us, man. Maybe we're not as good as we thought." You start down the coaching staff. People start pointing fingers, and things can get kind of ugly. Or you can do what Alabama did, and you can get ticked off. You can use it as fuel and motivation. Understand that wasn't us. Go to the drawing board and really come together. We definitely took the right path. I'm not saying they took the wrong path, but I feel like after that game, and maybe they just weren't as good as people might have initially thought, but I just feel like they were just a little rocky earlier on, and now I feel like they're hitting their stride. So I don't know. I just wanted to wrap Alabama in that. I think Alabama responded exactly how you want them to respond. Texas kind of had a tough deal after that week 1 loss, and they're playing a lot better now, but might be a little, I don't know, still in some trouble with who they got remaining on the schedule. I'm looking at all these score predictions now. The line, I think, is at, what is it? Is it 10 or 11 and a half? What's it at, Reed? Do you know exactly where it's at?
I don't know, but I'll look into it. But I was also going to say, it's just kind of thinking back to like your point on, how Alabama like faced that adversity, it is kind of
Mhm.
crazy to think of what if Texas, responded back to the way, how we did, and we responded how Texas would have, how would that
Yep.
kind of, swap up the season? And, and you got to think Texas is not even out of it yet. They're still right
No.
outside the bubble in the CFP. So, I mean, that's still like,
No, well, if
great.
they win out, they're in. I mean, if you beat number 3 Texas A&M and you beat number 5 Georgia, who they have both those teams on their schedule, you're 100% right, Reed. I mean, they're every bit in it. I'm just saying, honestly, do we think that they're going to win both of those games? Could they find a way to win one? Sure. But both, given how they've looked, man, like I don't see it. I don't see it. I personally don't see it. But
Yeah,
I don't
Christian.
know.
ESPN has Alabama as a 9.5-point favorite. It opened at 10.5 and then went down to 9.
So it's going. I'm thinking at one point it was even like 11 or something. So dang, it seems like it's going down. So maybe people are hearing Coach Frank Wilson talk and hype his guys up, and I don't know. That's interesting, man. I don't know. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. But to be fair, I mean, everybody in the chat, they're not going down. Everybody's going up. Do we even have, we've got I think one score per day, or close to it. Maybe. Everybody's confident I can say that. Let's hit this timeout. When we come back, I got a quick question for you guys. And it maybe you guys feel different than me. I know I briefly hit on it, but do you guys view LSU as a rivalry game, or is it just me? I'm genuinely curious. Let me know in the chat. I want to discuss it even for a few minutes. Get y'all's gauge on it. I've always viewed like when I found out that they're not one of our permanent opponents, we had Mississippi State instead. Like I was kind of, I wouldn't say upset, but I was disappointed. To me, I view it as a rivalry game, but a couple of you guys in the chat don't think so. So I'm just curious what you guys think. We'll talk about that briefly when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey, this is Wyatt Fulton from Ty.
G. Bama says LSU is definitely our rival. Texas offense still a real deal. They click. Long was dangerous. Oh, you said defense. I'm sorry. I was like offense. I'm like, man, offense look pretty rough, Ricky. No, defense is great, man. Just arching that offense has just not really been it, bro. Which is kind of unfortunate because everybody thought, I mean, shoot, he's going to be the number 1 pick. That's why it sucks putting those expectations on these guys. Auburn and Tennessee were the only two rivals for you growing up. As a player, you will view it differently, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm just showing my age or something. I don't, bro. Like when I think of LSU and Alabama, like to me, I'm like, bro, it's a no brainer. I'm like, that's a rivalry game. Again, not to the same extent. Like I'm not saying it's the Iron Bowl, but I mean, like we always, bro. I mean, like Bama LSU is a bigger game than Bama versus Tennessee, according to ratings. That's the other thing too. Like I know people tune into like Alabama LSU is always one of the most watched regular season games. But I'm just and you guys are probably right. And it's definitely probably like, you know, if you include before Coach Saban and all that, it's different. But I'm going back to like, you know, the national championship game that the two teams played. Then obviously the history with him coming from LSU. So I guess like I'm thinking from like earlier 2000s range to like now. So I guess in the last 20 years or so, more or less. I can't speak on before that. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know a whole bunch. Sorry, Carson tagged us in something. He said some really good reps by Wilkin Formby against Dylan Stewart. Oh, God. Shall we take a look at this, guys? Let's see. Let me look at it first. All right, that was one. All right. I mean, okay, three. I mean, I'll give him about 3, 2.5. Second one, I was telling you a second. That's a good one. All right, it's about 3.5 out of 4. Here's a fifth one. All right. So, yeah, I'll put this up here real quick. I feel like we should be good on the copyright, but all right, Carson, I'll do it for you, man. We're just chilling anyways. Let me and sorry guys, I know the show's a little not show, maybe I should say me. Got a little bit, it's been a long week, man. Definitely just been a long week. So I apologize if we don't really have like the juice and all that, man. It's been a long week, bro. Um Let me text Reagan real quick. All right, let's pull up these clips real quick. And welcome back into this free for all Friday edition of Miller's Edge. Tied 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Before we hit that last time out, I threw out the question. I just real briefly just wanted to get y'all's thoughts real quick. Alabama LSU. I always was excited for this game. Knew it was going to be a good game, whether it was at Bryant-Denny Stadium, whether it was down in Death Valley, whether it was afternoon, whether it was night. I mean, like, and again, you guys have heard me explain my reasons, but as a player, I'm just going to start there. Just make sure I mention that because again, I do think that the perspectives are different. Not like one is better than the other. Let me be clear. I'm just saying, like, my experience and stuff is going to look a lot different. It's just me being honest. From my experience as a player, this game, I mean, was always. I mean, it literally like the magnitude of this game felt the same, if not sometimes more than the likes of Auburn or Tennessee as a player. Now, that could be because of Coach Saban's history. That could be because Coach Cochran's history, right? That could be because the fact that we had probably, I don't know, 40% of our roster made up of guys from Louisiana and probably a combination of all that stuff. But I always just naturally thought Alabama LSU rivalry. Like when I see the two logos, I think rivalry. You know what I mean? Like, I know how when we used to go to LSU, we used to travel down to Baton Rouge. I remember how those fans reacted. I remember how those fans talked to. I mean, like, to me, it had every recipe, right? Every ingredient in the recipe to be a rivalry. So I always just naturally just assume that. But it's so interesting because I feel like whether it was the decision to put Mississippi State as our permanent opponent instead of LSU, and even just now, just kind of talking about it, allegedly, a lot of people don't really feel that same way. Um, I see a couple people agreeing with me, but a number of folks in the chat actually don't view LSU as a rivalry, and it's just so interesting to me because, from my perspective, again, I'm 29. I was recruited by Alabama starting like 2012, so like I guess go back 13 years. Before that, did I watch Alabama? Sure, like growing up, but I did not like keep up with. I couldn't tell you about all the details and the history and all that. So I'll just say 13 years. Um, LSU has always been I even remember before that, though, like the championship game and stuff. That said, interesting enough, man, some of you guys don't consider it a rivalry game, which is interesting. Reed, Chase, what about you guys? I know you guys are a little bit younger. I mean, do you think it's like a generational thing? Like, do you guys view it as a rivalry?
So, Christian, I think it is kind of a generational thing. I grew up here in Birmingham, Alabama, and so I grew up being a Bama fan since as far back as I can think, you know. But I think when you think of historical, like the Alabama Crimson Tide as a history, I
Mhm.
think that's where people are putting in that Mississippi State argument. But then
Right.
when I at least think of my time as being a fan growing up, I've always thought of Alabama's three rivals being LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn.
Mhm. That's kind of not kind of that's how I view it, right? I view those three teams. I hate to say it like this, like when we played Mississippi State, it did not feel like a rivalry. When I was in school here, I'm just being completely honest with you. It felt like playing the likes of like Ole Miss. Um,
And that's what I was going to ask you, Christian, is like when you played like a team like Mississippi State, who, you know, some people see as a rivalry, did it really
Mhm.
have like that energy of like LSU or Tennessee? At least for me as a
No,
fan, it never built up that way.
no. And that's a great question. I'm just going to be completely transparent. Not once did I play Mississippi State, and it felt nearly like the magnitude of playing LSU, Auburn, or Tennessee. And I know that people talk about like the history and that like that is actually a true rivalry based off the history of it, which makes sense. I understand. But from my experience as a player playing from 14 through 18, didn't feel like a rivalry, man. We didn't like that week of prep, like literally like the main points from that game, and this is going to sound low key disrespectful, but the main points that like we used to like get from our coaches, really Coach Saban, he used to talk about this, was that this is this good because I hate to say it, a lot of times, like other than 2014, I don't know if you guys remember this. Mississippi State was like ranked number one in the country when they came to Tuscaloosa, and we actually ended up beating them, but they were like top ranked that year. But outside of that, they hadn't really had a whole bunch of success. And Coach Saban's main point when we played them was these guys are dangerous because they're made up of a bunch of guys that wanted to come to Alabama but couldn't. Now I know you guys are probably laughing right now and probably like, damn, that's hella disrespectful. That literally was like the big point of playing Mississippi State. Like they always used to harp on that. Like, just know these guys are coming to bust you in the mouth because they want to be in your shoes. So, with all due respect to Mississippi State, it was always viewed almost like they're like the little brother that's jealous of you. Just being completely honest. So I never saw it as like a rivalry like that. But LSU, oh hell yeah, LSU was like, nah. I mean, this is going to be a big game. All the scouts are there, packed out. Both fans don't like each other. From my knowledge, I experienced it firsthand. Like from like, bro, we would have like when we would play at LSU because their bleachers or whatever you call it were like mad close to like our bench. They would be down there like yelling crazy stuff, cussing people out. Like I remember one time because Tim Williams, he's from Louisiana, and I mean they were just talking crazy to him. And that didn't always happen. All these other like so like to me like my experience like every like when I say every had every ingredient of being like a real rivalry, it felt every bit of it. Like the games are chippy, they are talking crazy, we were talking crazy. I mean like yeah. Now I saw Ricky. I know Ricky's talking about Tennessee and Auburn. Again, I understand those are like true in terms of the atmosphere, the current, state of the rivalry, and then going back, those, supersede everything we're talking about. I wouldn't put LSU up there. I just meant like the feel of it, like the games and the atmosphere and all that. I would put LSU where we're kind of at with Georgia. I would say like Tennessee / Auburn being like our top rivalries. There's no arguments there. I guess there could be an argument on which one of those is the top rivalry, right? I know Saban says Tennessee probably is. A lot of fans agree with that. A lot of other fans talk about the Iron Bowl and really the significance there. Totally understand both arguments. We'll save that for another day. After those, I would say to me, LSU is like right underneath those, barely. And then you've got like Georgia now. Georgia and LSU are kind of like right there where I call them like new age rivalries, maybe. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people view Mississippi State as a rivalry, but because of the old school history of it. But I'm just saying right now, Ricky, it just don't really feel like a rivalry, man. I'm just being completely honest from a player perspective. It just didn't ever feel like one to me. That's just my opinion. I respect everybody else's who actually understand the true meaning of that rivalry with them. That means a lot more than mine. I'm just saying from my perspective and experience. I wish it did. I wish it felt more like a rivalry. And I hope maybe it has more significance now that they're a permanent opponent. But it's unfortunate. I haven't experienced that yet. We got to hit the top of the hour break when we come back. We got Reagan Starner coming up, R&R Cigars. We'll get his smoking hot picks for this weekend. Hell, we'll ask him his opinion on this whole rivalry talk right now. And we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Free for all Friday edition, Prediction Friday. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
The Denver Broncos are now winners of their last 7.
All right, let's see. How many times have you lost to LSU when you played? Zero. Zero. Zilch. Never lost. Never lost to LSU. Never lost to Tennessee. I lost to Auburn. One time, though. 1 out of 5 times, though. I mean, come on now. I mean, like, you can't be perfect. I lost to Ole Miss twice, and I lost to Auburn once. Those are all the regular season losses that I ever had at Alabama through 5 years. If you take away my redshirt year, then I only lost to Ole Miss once. I only lost to Auburn once. That was it. Crazy, right? And I hate saying I because, first of all, this game has nothing to do with I. It's a we type game. But just saying in terms of like my experience. So in your case, Auburn should be your biggest rival. Well, listen, I like from everything I learned, right? Auburn always felt like the biggest rival until I learned more of the backstory on like in the history of Tennessee and whatnot. But if I give you my personal list, like if you just ask me, I'm not saying this list is right. I'm not saying it's what it should be. I'm not saying it's what other people. This is my personal list from my experiences, from my recruiting stage to my playing stage to even to where I'm at now covering college football and whatnot. I would say, to me, Auburn would be number 1. Tennessee would be right there, but number 2. This is my list. And then I would have LSU and then Georgia. And the reason I didn't even throw Mississippi State, I'm just being completely honest with you guys. Like Mississippi State did not feel like a rivalry game for us, like at all. The closest time it ever did was when they were ranked number 1 because they actually were solid that year. And I'm pretty sure Dak was their quarterback that year. I know for a fact in 2015 he was. But when we went on the road and played them in 2015, it was belt to ass. To the point where, as a redshirt freshman, like I got in, that was the first, and literally, like I think Nick Fitzgerald was the backup. He came in, like my first snap, I damn near had a sack. I was so mad too, bro. I should have had, bro. Like, oh my gosh, bro. I literally like I beat the tackle and I had like my hand on the dude. He stepped up like at the perfect time. My point is we literally beat them so bad that I got in on trash minutes against them. And welcome back into this free for all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. We're talking a little bit about the LSU game, obviously, but then we were kind of got into the whole conversation. I wanted to just hit it briefly, but it brought up a really good debate on if LSU really is a true rival. And I guess it varies. It varies. I hate to disrespect Mississippi State like that, but it's just one of those things, man. Like, just in recent years, it has not felt like that, man. I hope now that they are a permanent opponent, we see a return of that energy and that excitement for that game. But yeah, man, just hadn't really felt like it. Let's put a pause on that conversation. We'll definitely dive back into it because it is an interesting one. I know you guys enjoying talking about that, but we are now joined by our good friend Reagan Starner of R&R Cigars. He's joining us now for his smoking hot picks. And Reagan, matter of fact, I might as well just start there since we're already on the conversation, man. Good Friday to you, number one. But number two, here's the big ticket question for you, Reagan. Is LSU a true rivalry game for Alabama?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't
I'm alone on this one.
Yeah, I don't feel that like real hatred. Like I feel like Tennessee, you know. It probably doesn't help that, like it's kind of like
Georgia, maybe.
Kind of like, huh?
Kind of like the Georgia game now with Alabama, like similar to that. No, it's not like a rivalry, but there's kind of like a.
I feel like LSU thinks we're like their rival. like it's like, well, like, dude, Georgia doesn't even feel like a rivalry. I mean, like Georgia's like what, 1-7 versus us like the last 8 times that we played.
Fair.
So
that's fair.
I mean, so that's kind of weird. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, I know that we're everybody's Super Bowl, but that doesn't make everybody our rival. You know what I mean?
Fair.
And, I mean, it's just, I don't know. To LSU, it's just never felt like, it's never had that same, like, I'll give you an example. There was, like, why I say, I always go say Tennessee is like our number one rival, but I'd heard Coach Saban say, he never had to get his team up to play versus Tennessee. He had to get his team up to play versus a lot of teams, but he never had to do it for Tennessee. And that was really the only game that he didn't have to get the team up to play that game. So just going off of like stories like that, I don't know. Again, I don't feel like LSU's got that same. I don't think Mississippi State is either. Like, let's be real. But I mean, it's like
a lot of older folks, though, Reagan. They feel like that, and they're gonna be upset that we're talking about that game. But I agree with you. From my playing experience, that game never felt like this big rivalry. It just didn't.
And they never promoted the rivalry. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly,
because it has like a trophy or whatever. But like, did you ever see the trophy?
I'm not gonna lie to you. That might be the first time I've heard of a trophy that you just you just mentioned.
I think there was like, or it was like a named rivalry, but like I never heard anybody actually use the name of it. So I don't know, for as big of a rivalry as it was, that it's got like a name, and I thought it had a trophy, but like nobody ever brought it out. So like if it was a rivalry game, why not treat it like a rivalry game?
Yeah.
It makes sense because they're our closest team that we play, geographically, like
Yeah.
an hour down the road. So, it would make sense that it's a rivalry. But like, I'm glad it's Mississippi State and not LSU that we're playing every year. Not because I'm like scared of LSU, like because I'm not, but like, it's definitely an easier win year in and year out than it is versus LSU.
True. No, you're not wrong. I mean, from that
So
perspective, I think it probably is a little. Like, if you ask Coach Saban, he probably wouldn't have been complaining about having Mississippi State every year instead of LSU. From a fan
yeah,
perspective, I mean,
that was my understanding was with the push to go to 9 games that they wanted to get like Mississippi State on the schedule as opposed to LSU because I mean like we had the 3 toughest basically rivalry games in the conference year in and year out with LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn. Or basically with LSU and Tennessee, Auburn not being, Auburn's on their 4th head coach since Nick Saban was hired, so it's kind of crazy. But LSU's not far behind either.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Reagan, in terms of some of these games we got this weekend, man, I'd say there's not nothing really. I wouldn't say there's a huge lineup of great games, but there's a couple that caught my attention that I'm curious to get your thoughts on, especially with the new playoff rankings that were unveiled Tuesday. This one in particular, you got number 7 BYU taking on number 8 Texas Tech. BYU still undefeated. Texas Tech only 1 loss, but both teams are top 10 teams, and I guess I want to find out how legit these teams are. Maybe them playing each other in the head-to-head will give me a little bit more of an idea, even though I want to see them play some actual opponents. But that said, Reagan, any thoughts on that matchup between BYU traveling to Texas Tech?
Well, I mean, not much for soaking, but I'm gonna probably also this Texas Tech thing. Where have I been? Like, I feel like this tortilla throwing thing should have been like a much bigger like thing that was talked about because like I just heard about throwing of the tortillas like last month. So I mean, what a great tradition in college football, the throwing of tortillas, and you just can't have fun with college football anymore.
Wait, where are they throwing them? Wait, hold on, because
So
I just clicked on this and there's a picture of them throwing them in the air.
Yeah. So apparently Texas Tech fans have been throwing tortillas on the field for like the past like 15 years or something like that. And now they like just came out with a thing. It's like if you throw a tortilla, it's like 1 tortilla is a 15-yard penalty. 2 tortillas is like
Okay, no way. No way.
they forfeit the game almost. I mean, it's like it's kind of
No
crazy.
way.
Yeah, but they've been throwing tortillas forever, which I think they should be allowed to do, honestly. But so anyway,
Wow.
long story short, I'm with the tortilla throwers. Give me Texas Tech.
Yeah, no. Now you just open up, and I'll save this for the break. But I'm reading a whole article about this tradition. I've never heard of this, but when you mentioned it, I
Yeah.
clicked on Texas Tech, and they just had a whole article about it. Very interesting stuff. Tortillas in
Yeah. Yeah.
like
You're
Coke
welcome.
tops. Yeah, thanks. That was not on my bingo card for this conversation. So
Yeah.
there's that.
If you're
All
going
right.
down rabbit holes, go look up the lizard people. That's a crazy one to go down to.
Yeah, see, this one's at least a football tradition. That one that I've heard brief thing. Yeah, that's yeah. We'll save that for another. Yeah, maybe not, Reagan. I'll pass on that one. I've heard a little bit about that. That's going to give me nightmares. All right, let's let's see what else we got here. You got Texas A&M playing Missouri. Texas A&M's -6.5 in this game. They go to Missouri, so they're on the road again. I feel like Texas A&M, and they showed me a lot when they went and beat LSU the way they did at Death Valley. Do you see Missouri finding a way to cause some hiccups for a red-hot Texas A&M team, Reagan?
Where's the game and what time?
It is at Missouri at 2:30. Texas A&M -6.5.
Yeah, I feel like Texas A&M's got that one. I mean, I was kind of surprised at how they beat LSU. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, brutal
Marcel
second
Reed
half.
looked really good. Yeah, really, really brutal. Really hate that they had to fire Brian Kelly. Wish that he could have played us one more time and then they would have fired him. But it's not the way the world works, unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, I'll go with the Aggies on this one, I guess.
Yeah. I'm curious to see the matchup between those edge guys that they have. They have some really good players up front, Marcel Reed and that A&M offensive line. That's going to be really interesting, man. Because you're right, Marcel Reed, man, he's playing some really good football, man. I think he's up there in that Heisman conversation too. If we end up playing him in the SEC championship game, if that's how the cards fall, man, that's definitely going to be one hell of a matchup. Looking forward to maybe seeing that happen. We'll see. But all right, we got the big one, Reagan. LSU traveling to Tuscaloosa. They play us at 6:30. Alabama's a 10.5-point favorite in this game. You mentioned Brian Kelly being fired. They got Coach Wilson taking over, new coordinator calling the plays, offensive line coach, then the interim coach, the running back coach. I mean, these guys seem like they're trying to breathe some new life in this LSU team, Reagan. I mean, I know you're taking Alabama to win the game, but how do you feel about these points, man? -10.5.
I feel pretty good about it. It's out being at home. There's definitely a difference between these guys when they're at home versus when they're on the road.
Mhm.
But they play really good when they're at home. So I don't know. It's been a weird season with a lot of weird things that have happened. But the defense, looks really good. Like I said, really, really good. But I mean, it's so weird, right? Because it's like they just fired their head coach. I think it's important Alabama comes out and smacks them on the mouth early and just kind of reminds them, like, hey, yeah, you guys let your last head coach down. And, maybe if you'd played better, your last head coach would have been here. Maybe if you hadn't stuck a kid up in a scissor lift in a storm. But that's another rabbit hole you can go down to. So anyway, I think you got to come out early. You got to establish your dominance. You got to kind of put these kids back in their place a little bit. And because I think LSU, they always say like, oh yeah, they fired their coach, they're going to come out and fire. It's like, man, well, if they'd had that fire the whole season, their coach would have still been coaching. So, it's weird. Kids are weird, but yeah, I like Alabama to win. Yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. You just don't know. Sometimes teams come out with that fresh fire, but I can see it being like a early thing, and then that flame getting a little dim as the lights.
Yeah, you just gotta hose them down.
Yeah, man, exactly. Reagan, I want you real quick before we let you go. Tell everybody about the food drive that you're doing. I've been talking about it on the show, but I want you to give them a little bit more details. I know the deal is that you come, donate and contribute. They're eligible for 50% off of a cigar. But just talk to the people. What made you come up with this idea to do the food drive, and then you can offer as many details as you want.
Yeah, just I felt I had a people, everybody was talking about all the loss of EBT and SNAP this week. And and I was reading my Bible and thinking about the Gospels and thinking about how Jesus, fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. And so I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that are going to be hurting. What if the body of believers stood up in a moment like this and started just feeding people? So my idea was to basically take 5 loaves and 2 fish, which, you know, more like symbolically, like not a whole lot, and see how far Jesus could stretch that. And we've had a lot of people come through and donate a lot of food. I think they're gonna do like their first pickup like coming up this week. And
Nice.
you know, we're working with Tuscaloosa Emergency Services and Dr. Care, and it's going to real people that are really in need. I mean, she's she's so involved with these people. You know, every day. It's like, hey, you know, like I think it's like, hey, my family's not going to eat tonight. So,
Wow.
you know, so I mean, it has real impact. So and immediate impact. So, you know, it's just trying to do what I can do to, you know, help people in town. And yeah, so I hope if you're listening, you know, we're looking for like pasta, beans, bone broth, uh, pasta sauce, anything that you can stretch out, rice, anything that you can stretch out and to make multiple meals out of is great. Vegetables like in canned goods, you know, stuff that can last. You know, and we just and it doesn't have to be a whole lot. You know, you don't have to bring a pallet of food. Like 1 can's 1 meal. So like, you know, I know it's
Go a
tough
long
out
way.
there for a lot of people too. But you know, I'm trying to do what I can, and if enough people do what they can, you know, we could feed the people that won't be able to eat. And I
That's
think that's
awesome.
important.
No, that's really important. No, and I appreciate you taking the initiative and doing that, because it's not like you had to do that. It's something that was put on your heart and something you wanted to do. But we definitely appreciate you doing that. Appreciate you sharing that information. So again, if anybody wants to contribute, like you said, even a little bit can go a long way. Head on over to R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street. And that's right, Reagan. They can go drop off all the goods there right to you. Is
Yeah,
there a
you can
time-
drop
is
it
there a
off.
time frame?
Yep.
Anytime?
Now
or
we're
is there-
anytime that we're open. We're open 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. today, and Saturday we're open 9 a.m. to 11 on Monday through Thursday, and noon to 11 on Sunday. So anytime while we're open, you can drop it off.
That's awesome. And again, if you do choose to do that and you enjoy a nice stick, he's rewarding you with half off of 1 cigar. But even if you don't, no worries. You still can go contribute and drop that off and help families out alongside Reagan and company that are doing that food drive right now. Thank you so much, Reagan, for sharing that. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, brother. Yes, sir.
All right, man. See ya.
Good deal. We'll see you. Reagan Starner of R&R Cigars joins us every Friday for his Smoking Hot Picks. Plus, he's a partner and friend of our show. Been a friend of us for years, man. So we appreciate Reagan and everything he's doing, especially with the food drive stuff, man. Really awesome to hear. So good deal. And we got to hit a timeout when we come back. We'll keep on rolling. We got some more calls to get to. 205-342-9904 is the number to the phone lines. We'll do that when we come right back after this quick timeout. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Get your life back.
All right, good stuff, man. Good stuff from Reagan, man. All right, we've got Carson, Larry, and we got Milso. So we'll get to those calls when we come back. I know Carson sent us. I know he's on the phone lines. Let's see what he's talking about with Wilkin for me. Let's see these 5 snaps from Wilkin right here. Let me put it bigger so you guys can see. All right, snap 1. Nice kick step. Dylan tries to go for a dip and rip. Wilkin shuts it down. Good hand placement. Good footwork. Braces well. It's good. That's a good rep, man. Rep number 2, right? And he's working on the island too, doing it, he got his help, right? We're not talking about chips or anything. It's solo action. That was the first one. Wait, I wanted to go back though, because somebody mentioned watch Jaden Roberts as well. Great job passing that off by Jaden Roberts right there. Working alongside Parker. Sees the late movement by, I'm assuming it's at the backer. Looks like Sean Murphy. Picks it up. Really good job by Jaden Roberts there. All right, what we got? Second rep. Dylan works down the middle of them. Gets his hands up. That one, I'll be honest with you, I think he was probably anticipating quick pass because that's typically what you do as an edge guy, right? Just try to get push and get your hands up. Not take again. So you guys are clear. I'm not trying to discredit Wilkin. I'm just giving you guys just a true, honest analysis, right? But nonetheless, good job bracing right there and doing a job. But that was when I was saying a half, just because I was like the defensive line. He was just trying to kind of just get some push, get his hands up. Wasn't really working a full on move right there. See what we got here. That's a good rep. Another good rep. Another really good rep. That's textbook right there. I mean, that's textbook. So Carson, I'll say this: those are really good reps from him. I think my biggest takeaway is that he's showing some growth. I think the biggest thing with him really is more consistency too. I mean, he's shown at times to do some good stuff. Hence, I think he was like the highest graded tackle and pass pro 1 week. It was I don't even remember what week it was, but still. So I mean, he's shown the potential, right? He's shown flashes. He's just got to be able to put it all together consistently. I think the problem with him, similar to how we talk about with the defense, sometimes they get, even though he does a number of good things, it tends to get overshadowed because his bads are like uglies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh man, like Proctor, where Proctor's at right now. Proctor is not perfect by any means. He's not. He didn't play great at South Carolina that last game, for sure. But even still, there's times, even though Proctor's better, I mean, there's times he still gets beat by speed, right? But the difference is his bads they're just that. Like, he has a bad player there, he gets beat here or there. Like, it happens, right? But it's survivable for the most part. With Wilkin, it tends to be like, when it's bad, it's ugly for those reps, and it tends to be pretty crucial.
Breeze in Tuscaloosa.
Not always, but
This
it
is
has been.
Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, let's go back to the phone lines this time. We're going to the people. We got Carson up first. Carson, welcome in.
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm great, man. How are you, Carson?
Oh, just working, man. Just picked up some lunch. Working from the house today, so we're hanging out.
Nice. Hey, man, I saw you respond, but we checked out the clips of Wilkin, and 100%, man. Those are good reps. Those are 5 reps, and I think all of them are against Dylan Stewart. But technique was good. He braced well. He did a nice job with, when Dylan tried to hit the edge, using that speed and using the nice rip move. Wilkin shut it down. Had good kick step. I was impressed with those, just like we just were talking about, though. I think the biggest thing with him is consistency, and then when it is bad, sometimes that bad can be pretty ugly, and just got to clean those things up.
That's the thing. It's like, I will say, like, my buddy actually texted me those. I think he found them on X, but he had texted him. He said, "Dang, these are some pretty good reps against the good pass rusher," and.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it is. But the problem is, like you're saying, is the ugly. It's like when he gets beat, he doesn't just get beat. Like, it's pants down, Like, what are you doing? So you're 100%. But I thought I'd give a little love because those reps were good reps, and I feel like people bash the guy. Not you per se. I'm just talking about people in general. When you see stuff online, it's like only bad, and it's like no, there's some good here. Like he's gotten better overall. There's a reason why they want to put him out there, because I'm sure he's showing stuff like that in practice, the good reps. So,
Yeah, no, for sure.
But,
I mean, and it's honestly it's a similar situation with Michael Carroll. I mean, like I know everybody's eager. Even I've said I think maybe it's time to give him that shot. But to be fair, I mean he's no different. I mean I've seen times too where he's going to have bad reps. I mean he's a true freshman. It's kind of expected. But I think the biggest thing for Wilkin, man, if he can just find a way to do it consistently and like what we just watched, right, build off of those reps. I mean, he'll be fine, and you're right. He does get a lot of criticism, and that kind of comes with the territory, man. When you're a player for Alabama, there's a lot of eyes on you, and expectations are really high. So hopefully he's able to manage those well. But I think he's grounded by his family and whatnot, so hopefully that helps out too. And I know that he's tight with Caden Proctor and those guys, so they got each other's back. But look, I'm rooting for the guy. We'll go as far as he can take us.
Me too.
I mean, if we can get him to. Or even Michael, whoever, but even him, if we get them, solid on that right side, that only makes the offensive line that much better. Plus, he actually does some good stuff in the running game, from what I've seen from the tape I've watched. So he's got some room to grow.
He looked good at guard too.
Yeah, no, he can do that. Look, and versatility helps a lot too, man. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, he's still got some time. Yeah, he might not be like a big draft pick or whatnot, but I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being a guy like look at Bradley Bozeman when he was here. I know Bozeman started and played a little bit more and whatnot, but this isn't a shot at Bozeman, but like if you told me Bozeman would end up playing in the league longer than a number of some of like the really good offense linemen we had here, I probably would have been like scratching my head a little bit. But look at Bozeman now. I mean, he's going on, I don't know, year 8, 9, whatever, and he's playing at a really high level of the National Football League. It would not shock me if Wilkin ends up making some type of big jump, and figures it out at some point. And then given that versatility and ends up having a nice pro career at some point.
Yeah, it could very well happen. But look, I'm hopeful that our best football is yet to be seen. I think there's a lot of things we can do better, and I'm hopeful for that. But I did want to jump into the rivalry talk about LSU. I'll give you my opinion on it. I don't think that they're a rivalry. Now, competitively, absolutely. Like those games that you were talking about, the energy was there. Like especially, during those times when it was like a rank 1 versus rank 2 matchup or a top 10 matchup between us. I mean, and I think Reagan was actually right. And like they're a rivalry. We're a rivalry for them, but it's not really us. I never viewed them as a rival until they started feeling slighted because Nick Saban ended up as our head coach after. There's a lot of bitterness from them, and I know that personally just living here. Most of my graduating class went to LSU. Like my friends, like I have buddies that are close friends that are diehard LSU fans. I mean, I'm right in the middle of it where I live, and they're bitter. It's more of like, well, Alabama has what we could have had. That's the way the fans see it, because Saban did win a national championship with LSU, and then they did win a national championship with Les Miles right after Saban left, and that was back in the era where it was valid to say, those are Saban's recruits, because it's not the NIL era. Kids couldn't transfer immediately after a coach left, or kids weren't jumping ship. It was like, no, Nick Saban built LSU into being the powerhouse. And I mean, man, LSU before Nick Saban got there was not a powerhouse. I'm trying to think of like when I was a kid. I've been a Bama fan for a long time. The LSU Alabama game before Nick Saban got to Alabama was not that. Like not what it was when you were there, or even like 2009, anywhere from like 2007 to 2009, like that time either. Like it never was that, because one, none of us were good. Like in the 90s and stuff, like Bama was going through lulls. Either one of us sucked, like during the time, and it just never had any legs to it. It was just like, okay, cool, SEC matchup, LSU, cool, gotta like whatever. It's not on the level of Auburn or Tennessee. And to be fair, I agree with you that like you don't view Mississippi State as like technically a rival because we just whooped their ass. Like it's I get it, but from a cultural standpoint, we've played Mississippi State for over 100 times in our history. I think our record versus LSU, I think somebody had posted it. It was like 53-27. So like a pretty nice handle on that versus LSU. But our record versus Mississippi State, I think we're like 81-18 or something like that. Look, it's belt to ass. Don't get me wrong, but that's a lot of games played between each other. That's a long time matchup, and I think they had a name for the rivalry with Mississippi State. It's like Highway 82 or something like that. But Starkville, Tuscaloosa, hour and a half apart, very close, easy for people to watch the games, and so for that reason, I would consider them like a historical rival. But you're absolutely right. From a competitive standpoint, no, it's not.
Yeah, no, but I appreciate you bringing those points up, and that's why I said I completely respect anybody else's opinion or perspective, especially when it is based off of a lot more than just my short 12 or 13 years really being involved with Alabama. Again, I started from when I started getting recruited, because before that, did I watch Alabama, occasionally? And the reason I say occasionally, I did not watch them every single weekend like a true Alabama fan or a kid that grew up watching Alabama did. That was not me, and I'm not going to sit here and act like that. So I will admit my ignorance to the previous years and stuff like that. I just go off of my experience, and that's why I said from my perspective as a player through recent years, 14 through 18, when I played here, that's just how it felt. But I completely respect
100%.
everybody else's. Yeah, because and it's just probably how it is right now, and it probably will change. And I hope Mississippi State kind of comes back to being a little bit more of a relevant game between us two. I love competitive games that bring like Tennessee and Auburn. Like, it's so exciting having a week like that because everything else that comes with it, right? Even seeing it from this side,
yeah.
Like from the player perspective, it was awesome, and then even seeing it from this side now, it's really cool as well. I just never saw that from Mississippi State. Even I'm trying to think. Yeah. So even when we played them after I was done as a player, it still just didn't really feel like that. So hopefully something comes back a little bit more now that it's one of the permanent deals, at least for the next 3 years. But no, everything you're saying makes sense.
Yeah. I remember. So it's actually funny. My dad actually talks about. My dad's been an Alabama fan for 40 years, and at least. And the way that he talks about Mississippi State is different than the way that in a different light than what other people say. And because he talks about all of the games, he always says this. He said, "Man, Mississippi State always plays us tough." And it's not. It was before Saban got there. It was kind of like around that time that I forget who the head coach. It was Sylvester Croom was the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvester Croom played for Alabama.
Yep.
And so it was like kind of like this, man, what you're going to get in Mississippi State. It's going to be a hard-nosed game, like a 10-3 game. That's what he always described that game as. Even though we always beat them, it was like a tough, like nobody could score type game in the 80s and 90s and all of that. So hopefully there's a little bit more of that brought back in the future, because I don't know, it's just weird because it's like I wouldn't consider Mississippi State like a competitive rivalry, but my dad always used to talk about, he's like, dang it, we're not even going to be able to score the football, are we? Type mentality. Because they always were just big and
they were that for
they
sure.
Want to muck it up on you. Yeah, they want to muck it up on you and play. I guess during the later years, 2014, 15, it was a little bit different. But I guess it's just interesting to hear older Bama fans' perspectives on how they view Mississippi State, because it is a little bit different. But you're right. I mean, it hasn't been competitive, and LSU 100% has been more of a competitive type rivalry since Saban got to Alabama. And I think it just comes from the fact that, look, whoever wins that game out of the SEC, the old SEC West, was probably going to the national championship, you know? So,
Yeah.
and it was that. So I do view it more in the lines of like Georgia, where it's just a competitive rivalry. But now that Saban's gone and it's Kalen DeBoer and there's no, not as much animosity, I don't know if that, I could possibly see that changing the way that fans see the Alabama LSU game. I don't know, but
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. Did you give
that's
us a
just
score
my
prediction,
long-winded
Carson?
take on it.
No, that's a great
No, I
take.
didn't.
How do you see this one going?
What's the line? Bama's laying 10?
10 and a
10 or
half, I
11?
think. 10 and a half on ESPN.
I can't lie. This game creeps me out.
Really?
Yeah, because it's one of those things where you don't know what you're going to get, like from a game plan perspective. Now, from a talent perspective, I don't know if they fixed their offensive line in 1 week. I don't think that, or 2 weeks. I don't know if that happens, but they got some guys on defense. I think this game kind of looks like the South Carolina game in a sense, where hopefully not from an execution standpoint from us, but like the way that it's kind of dialed up, where it's like, all right, a team with their back against the wall, they do have pieces that can be very good, especially on the back end and on the defense. The secondary is a good secondary. They have some guys that can get after you, but they're not that great at pass rush. They're okay. They're good, but offensive line struggles. Quarterback has been inconsistent due to those things, but they do have some weapons. I think that we play our best football game. I think we build off of what we saw against South Carolina. I think Kalen DeBoer out of a bye week is undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll take Bama by 13. Give me, okay. This is gonna be tough. What did you predict it? Did you give it?
I didn't do it yet. I didn't do it yet, man. I saved mine for last, man. It's well here. I'll give you. You just think on it. You can type in the chat, but you said by 13, so you can build off that if you want.
Right. Yeah.
Carson wants that football. 30. He's trying to get it perfect.
I am because I've gotten close. Look, I'm gonna change it. Give me Bama by 2 scores. Give me 35-21.
35-21. All right, we got you written down, bro.
35-21.
35-21.
Yeah, right in stone.
All right, we got you written down. Carson, we appreciate you, bro.
No problem, man. Thank you for taking my call, buddy.
Always, man. Take care, man. Good deal. All right, let's hit a quick timeout and get back on schedule to come back. We got Larry up next. We also got Milso on the lines. We'll get to you guys and keep on rolling. Got some tape pulled up too if you guys want to take a peek at that. Looking at that A&M game and just seeing how LSU's defense kind of broke down a little bit in that second half. We'll keep doing that right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Yeah, if I'm being honest with you guys, and I know Reed is a big part of A&M's offense, running game included, man. When you're talking about when you have that extra element, that makes it tough to defend, even, when you start just going back to inside zone duo and stuff, because when you're having to consider the quarterback in that equation, it makes it tough. But just watching LSU's defensive front, man, I think it's a good opportunity for our offensive line to get back on track, honestly. Now, I know they're going to probably play us a lot better, right, just because everything, all the emotion, all that good stuff. But I hope we really are able to kind of get our running game going, or at least try to, which I expect us to try to do it. But I think there's definitely going to be some opportunities here. Like, I mean, like, look at this. I mean, like, they're guys. Like, if you guys, I know I'm going kind of quick, man, but these double teams, man, like these tackles don't hold well on these double teams, man. Like, I'm just thinking a guy like Jaden Roberts and even a big guy like Dewberry, man, working some duo in there and seeing the way these tackles handle it, man, might be some opportunities between the tackles in this game. ¿Cómo te va? ¿Todo bien? Gracias por preguntarme. Todo bien. Lo mismo de siempre. Aquí estoy. Gracias a Dios. Are you still learning? Are you still sigues practicando español Q06? I feel like you haven't talked about your Spanish in a minute, man. Obviously you are if you're speaking Spanish on here, but I feel like you hadn't really talked about it, man. How's it coming? I hadn't asked you in a while. If you haven't, you got to go download that app I told you about, Hello Talk. That way you can go speak with all the natives. Si no lo has hecho, necesitas descargar esa aplicación de la que te dije para que puedas practicar con todos los nativos. Good, good. Keep practicing every day, bro. Keep practicing every day. Sigue adelante. I've still been on mine, man. I think last time we talked, I was kind of like, man, I'm kind of going through a little bit of a rut myself, but what about what's Hello Talk? I've used Babbel. My wife helps me, of course. Oh yeah, I forgot. Superfly is also doing Spanish too. Man, it's an app called Hello Talk. Definitely go download it. I know you're married, so I mean, basically it's an app for like. I know let me go back. The reason I say that is because it's an app for like language exchange, but like there will be people that try to message you on there and stuff sometimes. Not like in like a weird way, but I'm just saying. I could see how a wife might be like, "Oh, what are you doing on this app?" But I promise, it's a language exchange. Probably are some people on there, probably on there for other reasons, but basically you can talk with native speakers. So like there's like Spanish speakers from all over that want to learn English, and you can just join voice rooms and speak with them. So you just exchange languages. That's basically what I did to learn. It's not an ad, by the way. It's literally just something that I did to learn Spanish. And it's really any language. Hell, if you want to learn Japanese, Mandarin, Russian, I mean, like you could just choose the language you want to learn, and you can just start joining rooms and talking with people. Así es como aprendí español y por eso hablo en español. Lo hacía todo el tiempo. And welcome back into this free for all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Should have done that in Spanish since we got the Spanish conversation back. We hadn't really brought that up in a while. I'm not going to do it right now, but we were talking about it during the break while we were watching a little bit of this LSU tape. But anyway, let's go back to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We've got Larry up next. Larry, you still with us?
Yeah, am I here?
Yes, sir.
You don't hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm the same age as that guy's dad. It turned 70 this year. I'm here to tell you
man.
This has been a rivalry. This has been a rivalry since I was a little kid, crying when Joe Namath lost to Texas in that Orange Bowl. Okay.
In which game are you talking about? Are you talking about LSU or Mississippi State?
I'm talking about when we lost to Texas in the Orange Bowl in '63. I've been a diehard fan, but I'm here to tell you, I walked on when I was a freshman, and I'm telling you, LSU was the rivalry.
Oh, so you're saying they are?
They were, and they've always been. This will be my fourth or fifth time coming back here, and 3 times down to LSU. And I'm here to tell you, we've always sweated bullets, especially when we played down there in Baton Rouge.
Wow. Okay, so now we're getting a different perspective. That's interesting. So you're saying it goes back even further. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I walked on. I walked on when I was there. I didn't say I played. Bear would give his top coaches those rivalry and toughest games. It was between Coach Oliver and Coach Donahue. One of them he entrusted with the Tennessee, the LSU, and the Auburn game.
wow. Dang, that's cool to hear.
Okay.
All right, so I got some help. Thank you, Larry. I got some help. I thought I had my back against the wall for a minute. I felt a little isolated, man. Nobody was like agreeing with me for a second, but now you're going even further back. That's cool. Hey, and then even though you walked on, you're B-side 5. That's still, yeah, you were on the team.
I,
That counts.
I walked on my freshman year. Gus White and Woodrow Lowe, who just died, was there. Colenso Hubbard, my two frat brothers there. They both was on that team,
Wow.
and they will tell you it was tough back then.
Wow. Man, that's awesome to hear though, man. But yeah, so LSU was a big game. How about Mississippi State? How around that time were they also a big rival for you guys? Would you consider that?
No, the
Really?
governors made it. They made it a big rivalry. When our band would go in, the Mississippi State police troopers would stop the band and give them a ticket, say thank you for coming. And the next, we always played Mississippi State one week and Ole Miss the next. We got the tickets. They stopped at both the buses. Those once they crossed the state line, and we returned the favor the next year.
Wow. Man, that's interesting,
It was
man.
hyped up. Yeah, it was hyped up, but that Mississippi State, they didn't really sell out their stadium. And those cowbells is really what made it annoying. But no, everybody looked up for that LSU, Tennessee, and the Auburn game. Nobody cried more when we lost at one point when they blocked those 2 field goals to Auburn. But LSU, Charlie McClendon, that will tell you this is going to be a tough one, guys.
Wow. Man, that's interesting. That's definitely a very interesting perspective. I appreciate you you sharing that with us. We'll definitely have to get you to call back in when we have more time one day and give us some more knowledge on some of that stuff, man. If you don't mind me asking, what year was that when you walked on? I'm just trying to gauge everything, the timeline together.
It was spring training my freshman year. That was the spring of 1974. You had the
Nice.
Rutledge boys at quarterback. Richard Todd was that's his first year there.
Wow.
You said Sylvester Croom's last year there.
Okay, that makes sense, man. Well, that's cool, man. That's good to hear. We got a few minutes left, Larry. And we got one more call I want to try to squeeze in. But before we let you go, is there any way you give us a score prediction for this game? You got one for us?
Man, if we win 1 point, I'm happy. It's always tough. But if we play our game, I think we can beat them a couple of touchdowns.
I hear you. Well, Larry, let's do this, man. Please call us back next week or whenever you get time, and I'd love to hear some more of your history that you got for us and learn a little bit more from you.
Yeah, I'm halfway there. I'm in Monroe now. I got about 4.5 more hours. I'm going to the game tomorrow.
Oh, good deal, man. Well, safe travels, man. I appreciate you calling. Great to hear from you. Is this your first time calling?
The first time calling when they was talking about it wasn't a rivalry, that motivated me to call. I'm always listening to it coming in. But I said, man, I got to call in.
I got you, man. Well, good deal. Well, definitely feel free to call back. I'd love to pick your brain a little bit more. Larry, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. Good deal. That's good stuff, man. We got about 1 more minute left. Let's see if we can squeeze in Milso real quick. Milso, you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Thank you. I think those last 2 calls were really good.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'm 80 years old. But anyway, I was going to jump in on the rivalry thing, but they covered that pretty well. Of course, LSU was Coach Saban's biggest game, and Tennessee was Coach Bryant's biggest game. Coach Bryant, talking about LSU, though, Coach Bryant, I was at his first game. It played in Ladd Stadium, Mobile, Alabama, against LSU. Paul Dietzel, Billy Cannon was on that team. But one thing I wanted to ask you, they don't used to me getting into that. They've covered it really well and good. 2 good calls up for me. What have you heard anything about it? Is Russo going to get back this year? I'm very proud of Keely and Pierre now, but I'd love to get Russo back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the plan is she's making progress that I think he's probably a little bit ahead of schedule. That could be a situation similar to myself where, I came back,
Right.
I think at the final regular season game, but was available the
Right.
postseason and whatnot. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's similar there if he's back for the last 2 or even 1 game. And then obviously we're anticipating making a postseason run. I think even if you have him there for that, I think that will be really big. So he definitely should be by then, to my knowledge.
It was all the game in the playoff game. And yeah, I remember when you came back.
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
I know you got to get going, and but I enjoyed listening to those last 2 calls, and I was going to add a little something to the rivalry thing. Like I said, now the proximity is Mississippi State, about 60 or 70 miles apart, and it's hard not to. We've been playing them so many years ago when there wasn't so many airplane flights. That was an easy one to get to. So
exactly.
But
No,
anyway,
that makes sense.
thank you very much. I enjoy your show, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the confidence in the call. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend, Mill. So, all right, good deal. Yes, sir. We got to get out of here. Reed, shoot me your score prediction real quick as we wrap things up.
I've got Bama 35-14.
All right, I'm close to you. I'm going 31-17. That'll do it for us here on the Miller's Edge. We got to get out of here. Make room for Wyatt coming up next. Appreciate all you guys. This has been the Miller's Edge presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.